Tell us about that thought process and what goes into getting those guys and what they can bring.
Yes, the speed was something we needed to address this offseason, especially in the receiver room. We felt like the direction we were moving in offensively was going to require guys that can really stretch the football field, something we failed to do last year. And I think a lot had to do with the personnel that we've had. So went into the portal, focused on guys that can run, guys with experience. And so, obviously being able to bring the group that we brought in, Chris Hudson and Javon Wadley, Luke Wysong, Tre Spivey, guys that, have some playing experience, but also, have speed and the ability to be able to turn it on and off when necessary.
And what are your early impressions of the newcomers?
Day two, I'm happy. I'm happy, far from satisfied. I think our standard's really high. Appreciate Coach Daggy and, the direction he wants to go in and, the identity that he wants to have as an offense. The standard's really high. So, day two, it's hard to, say, we're there and, or even say we're not there. But I think we're moving in the right direction. Today felt good. We've been able to throw the ball down the field a couple times, and guys are doing a good job in responding to, the retention of the offense and it being so very new, and then being able to come out and apply what they're learning in the classroom. So I'm very pleased with that part.
In terms of having, you talk about bringing in veteran guys with talent like that, and having a quarterback like Noah Fafita, as you guys are trying to learn and develop in this new offense, how much does that help? Just having guys that have been around football for so long.
Yeah, that really helps the learning curve, allows them to understand, they've had to play in multiple offenses before, so they were able to, learn and then obviously, wipe off what they've already learned and then relearn other things. So, they understand the process and they understand it's going to take time, so they don't get frustrated. And, but they also have a very high energy, a very positive energy, which I truly appreciate as a coach, because it's it's definitely a reflection of how I go about it as well. This is the fifth offense in 5 years that I've been in college football that I've learned. So, it's very refreshing to have a veteran group of guys that are excited about it and, are really approaching it with a focus and, a demeanor to get better, and understanding that they're not going to be perfect right away, but the end result is what we're focused on.
So from the time you started coaching him to now, in what ways has Chris Hunter gotten better as a receiver, and what did you make of just kind of the second half of last year?
Chris has really been, he's probably one of my favorite guys, because he's very coachable, and he's really taken on the challenge of understanding where he started in the depth chart. And I believe I told you guys a story before, but Chris was committed to me at, Arizona State when he was first coming out of high school as a walk-on. Then when Arizona gave him the offer here, I was very excited about that opportunity for him to come here and play on scholarship. And then, it was full circle for me to get back here and have an opportunity to coach him. So I was already well aware of Chris's talents coming out of high school. It was just a matter of trying to get him in the mind space of understanding that he's capable and give him the confidence that he needed to be able to play at a high level. It takes time, and you got to have a plan for these kids. And he really trusted the plan that I put forward for him, and really came to work every single day, regardless of where he was in the depth chart. And I thought I thought it was a perfect timing for him to be able to come in and make the plays late in the year like he did for us. With that said, Chris also understands that he needs to continue to get better. The development continues to grow for him. He still needs to come now in a leadership role. And so I put a lot on him as far as having expectations for him and him really pushing the room and what to expect, from me and my coaching style. So I'm very pleased with Chris. I'm excited for what he's going to be able to do within this offense. I think it's going to really match up to his abilities and his skills. Really looking forward to seeing how he plays this year.
After losing a guy like T-Mac, have you seen him start to maybe embrace kind of that wide receiver one role a little bit?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's, he understands the collective is going to be really important. The fact that, Chris came on late in the year, he understood that if T would have had a true number 2 last year, things would have been much different when it came to game planning. And, and Chris fell into that role late. It would have been great to have him early. So he understands the need for the collective group to be good. And so he is definitely taking it upon himself to push the group, communicate clearly with the group, expectations, standards, and then also lead by example.
You guys were obviously headlined by T-Mac last year and having that true number one threat in a room like that. How is it losing a player like that and having the rest of the room with a lot of new faces as well kind of take on that role? Not the role, but how challenging is that to kind of fill those shoes?
Impossible to fill those shoes. I'm going to be very clear about that. And T-Mac is by far one of the best players that I ever coached and probably ever will as an individual. With that said, the collective group will be better than we were last year. And I think everybody's well aware of that. I will also say there's kids in this group that can be as productive as T-Mac was. There's guys that have the skill set, the speed, the football IQ, the will, the want to win, the highly competitive edge. And I really feel like there's a few guys, maybe 3 or 4 guys that can emerge and really being a top producer within this offense. I will also say that this offense is built to have a few different guys that can, get over 1,000 yards and be highly productive. So everybody's going to have a fair shot at it. The guys that really, really take it personal and really become a pro within this offense are going to be the ones that emerge.
Not only did you guys add players in terms of the transfer portal, but you have Isaiah that came in with the recruiting class, and you guys were able to hold on to him and get him to sign. Just talk about his talent and kind of the recruitment and what went into that for you guys.
Yeah, Isaiah is a very unique talent as well. He's absolutely elite when it comes to his ability to run vertical. His speed is, unmatched for high school kids from last year. He's clearly plays at a high speed as well. You get track kids like that a lot that run fast track times. Sometimes it doesn't translate to the football field. Watching the way Isaiah moves, it absolutely translates. I'm excited to have him. I'm very pleased with where he's at right now. Obviously, he's going to need some development. That's my job as a coach to make sure I find those weaknesses and continue to push him to be great. And so he's done a great job with accepting the coaching. The process of the recruitment is just like any other kid, I think. At this day and age, the relationship is extremely important. These kids all want to play for somebody that they can trust, somebody that's telling them the truth, and, have a real opportunity to be able to play. I expect big things from him this year. I think he's also understanding that this group is strong, and that's going to help him get a lot better very quick. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he emerges as a player in his freshman year.
So I don't know if you saw this video clip of Steve Smith Sr. talking about T-Mac and how he doesn't have an elaborate route tree. If you've seen that, what are your thoughts on that? And just what are your thoughts on T-Mac on the NFL?
I'm going to be careful here. I love Steve Smith. He's one of my favorite receivers watching him play. I just don't think he's watched enough film on T-Mac, and that's just the truth about it. Obviously, I think if he was in my shoes and had coached the kids last year, he would be saying something very, very different. And so it's fair for him. He's in the media. That's not his job to be able to coach the kid. It's not his job to coach him up. That was my job last year. But, I would tell him to watch more film, to be able to really digest it. But T-Mac's ability is going to translate quickly to the NFL. There's no doubt about it. He's a great route runner. I think he's very coachable. And then obviously the God-given talent is unmatched. The ability to be able to play the ball off his feet and create separation. And then what he put on film last year to be able to run with the football in his hand, I think is really unique at that size. And then he was by far faster than what people thought he was. I get the unique opportunity to be able to talk to him, so much throughout the week. And so I know what his training process is. I know how fast he's been running as he's been working out. And, I'm really proud of him and how he's really been working this offseason.
And then what has it been like for you to see him go through the draft process, go to the combine, and have that private workout here earlier this week?
It means a lot, man. You pretty much, I inherited this child, so it's, but we got close so quick that, I understand what he really wants to do and where he really wants to go. I think he's really figuring out that he loves the game of football. a lot like I did at that age. Guys that are really athletic early and they experience a lot of success, if they're not born to be football junkies, they just love to play sports, period. So, he's very competitive. He'll be competitive in anything he does. But I think this process right now and him training is really making him fall in love with football. And it's also becoming a new challenge for him. And elite athletes consistently need constant challenge. And so right now he feels the challenge. That was his, opportunity on Monday. I think that's why he ran a 40 after working out all week. He didn't peak to run the 40. He was working all last week. And so a lot of guys that go to the combine, everything is set for the 40, period. T-Mac has been running routes. We ran routes on Sunday before he ran on Monday. And so for him to come out in front of 27 teams and, put the cleats on and run what he ran, I'm extremely proud of him.
And then new offensive coordinator, Seth Dagey, what has it been like working with him, and what's different about maybe some of the concepts and routes that you guys are doing this year?
Man, I love Coach Dagey. I think he's right on time. He has direction. He knows what this offense needs to look like. He knows what he wants it to look like. He's not afraid to push players. He's very clear with his direction, not only for the players, but for the coaches as well. And he brings the energy that is contagious. We all want to be a part of that. I think every competitive person that's played the game wants that type of energy every single day. He is who he is. It's not a show. It's not for the cameras. It's not for anybody else. And then he has a unique ability to be able to relate to the players as well. So we're all looking forward to working with him. I love, for being a former Wildcat, he's 100% the right guy for the job. So I'm excited to work with him and looking forward to having a great year.
All right, that's our time. Cool.
Thanks, guys.
So Chris, good to see you. Now that you're going into this year, what are some things that you learned last year that could help prepare you for this upcoming season?
Finishing off last year, starting those last few games, kind of just learning how to, play full speed, play as a starter, kind of just perfecting my craft, really, with T-Mac and Montana, being gone. They kind of just taught me the more leadership role I should take on, really, and, kind of matured my game, up to this point. So really just learning how to, play in the flow of a game. So some things I learned.
Obviously, it's not the result that you guys wanted, but the TCU game and the 2 touchdowns that you had, what did you think you showed?
I think at that point in the season, I was pretty comfortable at that point. And I just played like myself. Really, I showed, I could, make those plays and make those catches when needed. And I think, Noah trusted me and, the whole staff trusted me up to that point. So, kind of just show what I've been practicing on and what I've been working in my craft.
And then, Tre, how's it been so far just being here?
Oh, it's been amazing. Coming out of high school, I was always a huge fan of Arizona. They were the first big school to recruit me. So I've always loved the area, Tucson. And honestly, just, Coach Wade, Coach Brennan, everybody's been so loving and accepting of me. So that's been huge, just being comfortable, having, older guys, guys who have been here, like Chris, help guide me along, show me how things are done over here versus K-State. So that's been huge, and, overall, I've just been loving my experience here.
And Chris, he's one of the newcomers. What have you seen from him and also some of the other guys that you guys added?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Honestly, I think everyone who came in plays with high intensity, brings insane energy and competition into the receiver room. And I think it's only elevated, all of us. And, that's something that's not teachable. And, just the jump that I've seen just from when they all first came in to second day of spring practice. I mean, the room is really talented and it's really special. And we all bond as brothers, honestly. And, it's a special group for sure.
Tre, when you first entered the portal, how quickly did that come about in terms of Arizona being interested in the mutual interests there and you coming to Tucson?
I'd say it was pretty quick. You know what I'm saying? They like I said, from high school even to the transfer portal, one of the first schools to really get on me. So immediately I knew that I had to set up a visit. I had to come back home, see what the vibes are, and Coach made that an extremely welcoming experience on my visit. Showed me love, showed me everything, showed me how I could be utilizing this offense on the field, and that was the biggest thing for me.
Not only with Coach Brennan, but Coach Wade, what are those relationships like, and how quickly did you guys connect?
Coach Wade, I love Coach Wade. And it wasn't hard to familiarize myself with him because in a way he almost acts similar to my old coach. A lot of energy, really fun, always cracking jokes, but will get on you and make sure that you're doing the right things. He's taught me so much in a little time. We barely started spring practices, but even throughout the just time I've been here, coming in to meet with him, he's expanded my game to levels I didn't think would expand that quick.
Question for both. First for Chris, how are the route concepts, just kind of the things you were doing, maybe a little bit different than last year?
I'd just say Daggy, in his new offense, we very, high pace, high tempo. So everything's just more vertical, more stretched. It's a new offense to learn. So we just playing at a higher pace. I say, Daggy's just teaching us his scheme, stretching the field. That's pretty much it.
And then for you, Tre, as kind of like an ex-guy, what's just kind of your responsibilities out there?
My responsibilities, man, get open, for real. But, I love this new offense Coach Daggy's bringing in. It's extremely versatile. We've got a lot of versatile receivers that can be moved around anywhere on the field. You know what I'm saying? So I think that with the talent that we bring in and the offense that Coach Daggy's bringing, we're going to be really explosive.
And then for Chris, with T-Mac in the room last year, of course, how is it kind of picking his brain and being able to kind of step into those shoes as like that number one receiver in the room? And then how do you, being the veteran now, how do you share that with all the new faces?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, T-Mac was a special talent, not just in what he could do on the field, but his knowledge of the game, and how he carried himself off the field. I mean, he was a top player in the nation, both on and off the field. I mean, the way he took care of his body, the way he thought the game, he kind of just showed me around and showed me how to think the game in ways I would have never thought, and obviously he's one of the hardest practicing players, you'll ever meet. So just seeing that and being around that for, as long as he came in, I've been in with him. We came in the same 22 class. So being around that, being around really a great player, it's easy to collect that. And then the leadership role, I think not just him, but Bobby and our strength coach and the head coach have pushed me to kind of, step out of my comfort zone and be more of a leader, as I'm one of like the older guys in the group. And so I've just tried to, do my best to step into that leadership role and kind of, show these guys, teach some things I know. And obviously they great players too, so they got some things to teach me. So we kind of bounce off each other, and I just try to, lead the way.
Chris, Brendan and Wade both talked about in terms of adding speed at the receiving position and getting more speed in that room. What have you seen thus far, and what could speed do for the group in terms of positivities with that?
Oh, I mean, I think it's obvious. This room, like Tre said, is insanely explosive now. I mean, we added speed at every level of the field, first level, second level, and third level. I mean, we're definitely going to be taking the top off this year. And, speed is important in general, not just speed down the field, but doing everything with speed, releasing with speed, thinking the game with speed with the new offense. So, honestly, I think the receiver room is just so much faster now, and it's going to unlock a whole new route tree, and new concepts that we can run that, will just help us in the future.
Is there an adjustment in terms of what you guys did in terms last year, the offensive pace to this up-tempo offense? Is there an adjustment for the receiving core, or is that kind of you're just playing football and it's just a little bit more high-tempo for you guys?
I mean, if you're not coming from a, no huddle offense, like last year, we huddled. This year, we're not huddling as much. So the only difference really is just, we trained all off-season just conditioning, really, in that instance, because you got to not just condition your body, condition your mind. You got to think faster when you get into the line faster and when you're running faster. So just the pacing is a little different, but at the end of the day, I mean, we probably all played some form of, high-tempo offense like I did in high school. So, at the end of the day, you playing football, but just higher pace.
So Chris, when you're kind of an emerging prospect, and even when the team doesn't do so well, some guys go into the portal and they leave the program. What led you to come back?
I didn't have any thoughts about hitting the portal. I just felt there was no reason. Everything I need here, so it wasn't even a thought for me, honestly.
And then what can you say about just the culture here going into year 2 under Brendan?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody just feel it. It feels different. There's something about it. It feels way different. Brennan and his staff have done a tremendous job of just bringing everybody all in, and he's himself. He's Brennan. And I think this is going to be a special year. Bobby, he's still Bobby Wade. He's just picking the energy up. Noah has stepped into a way bigger leadership role. He's way more vocal. He doesn't let us slack off either. So I think everybody kind of feel that energy. You know what I'm saying? It's a new energy in the building. So I think that's pretty much everybody feeling.
And then Tre, how's it being teammates with Genesis again?
Oh yeah, that's what's up, man. That's my best friend. We've been homeboys since 8th grade, pretty much. But I'm happy. He was definitely wanting to get on me about Arizona for sure. He's a dude who brings a lot of energy, and he's a hard worker, one of the hardest workers I know. And I know that with him stepping up in the leadership role as well this year, he's gonna bring everybody else with him. You know what I'm saying? You catch practices. After practices, after PRPs, you see him bringing all the DBs over to go catch balls. He lifts me up, I lift him up. We're real competitive, always going at it with each other. So I think that it's a great dynamic to have between friends, especially being on offense and defense. We're able to help push the team in our own ways.
It's early, but have you guys matched up against each other at all?
Not yet. Not yet. I'm looking forward to it though.
I guess a question for both. What's it like being in the offense with Noah Fafita? What's he like as a leader?
I could start. I mean, I've been around Noah since I first got here. And even before he started into the starting role, you know, I usually was taking reps with him in general. So just from the beginning, I mean, he's a super humble kid, you know, super down-to-earth guy. And, I mean, he's always picking everybody up. He's always, especially now, going into this year, you could tell he got a new fire lit under him, you know. He's not trying to prove anybody wrong, just, you know, proving himself right. That's all that matters. And you can feel that new energy that he brings in. He's a special talent. You know, one of the most accurate quarterbacks you'll ever meet. You know, one of the most hard-working dudes you'll ever meet. One of the nicest people you ever meet. So, I mean, playing with him is a blessing.
Yeah, most definitely. Chris really hit it on the dot, man. I remember when I first got here and we just, you know, took some time to throw together, and I was like, man, this dude's accurate. This dude can put the ball anywhere on the field. But no, he's for sure a leader. He's vocal, and the biggest thing about him, you know, that I appreciate, I feel like everybody appreciates, is how he uplifts everybody. You know what I'm saying? Everybody at some point is going to make a mistake, but he makes sure that it doesn't get to anybody on the field. You know, he's going to put his confidence in you and let you know that, yeah, this might have happened, but I still believe in you. We're going to fix that, and I'm going to go right back to you. You know what I'm saying? And he does that with any position. So I feel like, you know, that's exactly what you want out of a QB. So, you know, it's been nice.
All right, that's our time. Cool.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you.